Baby, I love the way every day, yeah. Mason's gotta listen to me sing every day, yeah. All the way down to Davenport, Iowa. I will sing, yeah.
Davenport.
I don't know if we're going to Davenport, actually.
I was I thought I don't remember us planning Davenport in there.
Speeding up, no slowing down.
Welcome back to everyone of the Track Packers podcast for episode 7 of season 4. It is just the dynamic duo here for this episode. Myself, Mason, along with Mr. Jessup Pelkey, holding down the fort in Bismarck. How are you doing this week, sir?
Well, Mason, um, we had a good past weekend, and I'm ready for the big doubleheader coming up for us at Dakota Speedway this weekend. And what better way to do it than being back in the front row?
Or the only row, depending on how you look at things.
Yeah, well, bakers can't be choosers. And if you're out points racing, every position matters.
Very good point. It doesn't matter how many cars show up, as long as you show up, you get rewarded.
Yes. And that's
Fair
how some
enough.
people like it these days.
Yeah, indeed. Yes. It's the beginning of the week, so I'm getting set for my first full weekend of racing this upcoming weekend because this last week I was completely out of state. So I had to watch everything from afar, which I will say is very weird. I'm not used to
Yes.
that.
I kept looking around and I was like, where's Mason? He has a new drone. Why isn't he out here flying it? What's
I w
happening?
I was down in Florida sweating my butt off.
How is Florida?
Other than the weather, it was a fun time. I went with my sister. She had an archery tournament, and we had some good bonding time. And I actually went clothes shopping yesterday, and I got actually quite a few new clothes.
Aw. So when you say clothes shopping, folks, I'm gonna clue you in here. Whose t-shirts did you buy?
They were not any racing t-shirts.
Wow, this is a first.
It was, I got one Under Armour long sleeve shirt, one, I guess, half Under Armour long sleeve. It's kind I can wear it for any occasion.
Those are called crop tops, Mason.
No, it's still long sleeve. I got new shorts, which actually I love these shorts. You'll get a kick out of these shorts.
They're pink
Um,
with neon yellow,
they are neon, but not yellow. Um,
blue,
nope.
green.
What else did I get? I got a new rain jacket, and there was and then a new sweatshirt.
Well, that sounds nice.
This is the most clothes I've gotten for myself in like 7, 8 years.
Well, there you go, buddy. Welcome
Yeah,
back to the real world.
back to the real world where I'm trying to like figure out like what all do I need to get set up for racing. It's been feels like it's been forever. But I did get to a
Stuff.
race 2 weeks ago, so that was I kind of got to scratch that itch a little bit.
Well, that's good because we had a we had a really good night, and you missed out.
Yep, that was one of those where I actually watched the live broadcast of a race. Fans and listeners out there, I myself do not purchase that many race broadcasts, and so usually because I'm at a track for one, and so it's weird kind of just being like watching from afar and being like, wow, this is this is different, and I mean, Jessup could have like the whole luxury of like 6, 7 races to tune in on like a Friday or Saturday night if they're not racing at Dakota Speedway. So
Well, that's what happens when you have just about every app uh, and a broadcast available. We still got to get a couple more though, so I can get everybody. But I gotta
like I said,
say, hey, in all seriousness, I think it was Saturday night. Flow, if you're a sprint car and late model guy, Flow was the spot to watch. They had all the good stuff. They have just about everything besides World of Outlaws. Um, they had Lucas Oil. They had a big 410 sprint race over at Port Royal. Then they had the IRA season opener, which was really good. And then they had the All Stars. And then there was another big race that they had going on too. And then, yeah, I was just sitting there watching like this is so good. I need a bigger screen with more speakers to yell at me and for four different things.
I said you probably just need more devices to kind of have like different screens because I'm sure it's what do you
I
have? Your
was,
phone, a tablet, and the TV
no,
and a
I was
computer?
only watching one. Oh I was watching the IRA sprints and then I jumped over to try to catch the All Stars and I didn't watch any. I watched a little bit of Fort and then I watched a little of the Lucas Oil late models, which Ricky Thornton whooped up on everybody this weekend.
So here's the other aspect of me watching from afar. Since I was in Florida on the Eastern time zone, so an hour ahead. So you guys finished at Dakota Speedway a little after,
10:06.
yeah, a little after 10, so it was 11. And I had to get up. I was with our archery stuff, we had to get up like at 6 in the morning. So I'm like, oh shoot, I can't stay up that late. So I'm like, okay. So then I hopped over to a couple of the live feeds for Fergus, so I got to watch the streets and the Midwest Modifieds. And by the time the Midwest Modifieds finished, it was after midnight in Florida. And I'm like, shoot, I can't stay up and watch anything else.
That is tough, but
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah, not often you can say that Mason went to bed before the races were done, but
You
that's
had to be responsible, Mason.
I did. I did. But hey, that is all behind us, and we get to go, and I get to go back to the racetrack for realsies.
Yeah, you'll be stopping over at the Pelican Palace for a while.
It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be a
Hey,
good
are
time.
you doing both nights at Dakota?
Just one.
Where are you going Saturday?
Estevan, hopefully.
Oh, that's right. Why Estevan? That seems
Because it's hard to get over to Estevan once the season gets rolling.
that's fair. That's true. That's a good
So
point.
that's like one of my easiest times to get over there, besides maybe Mod Tour and one other time.
Yeah, that's fair. It just caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay, I
Yeah,
guess, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
because
that makes sense.
Estevan's one of my favorite places to go, but
They do
considering
have
it's
good racing.
6 hours
Estevan
from
is
me, yeah,
Estevan is a hidden. I always say this after every mod tour, but that place is awesome. They got great workers, great fans, great people to deal with, and not really deal with, but to work with and socialize with. And yeah, I like Estevan. Then
yep,
we go to the beef eater and eat poutine and call it a day.
it's a pretty good day if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so want to thank you, listeners and watchers of the Track Packers podcast, as you tune in throughout the season. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we want to thank our fellow supporters as well, including Hitch Harness, our presenting sponsor. Thank you, Tyler Hall, for joining us for another season of the Track Packers podcast. If you're not familiar with Hitch Harness, they focus on a signature product, the single or double side hitch harness, which focuses on safety and efficiency for your receiver hitches. Because we all know if you're a racer, you want to rush and get things done. You want to make sure everything is ready to get to the track, but you're always like rushing and kind of forgetting things. Same thing with like your receiver hitch. You can easily leave it in the back of the truck and it'll be kind of flying around the place, not safe for passengers or other motorists. So this is designed to store it safely and just inside the back of the truck so that way you can make the most of your time going from place to place. So check out hitchharness.com for that and all the other products they have. They have so much more. Get a hold of Tyler if you have any questions and he will point you in the right direction. Thank you so much, Hitch Harness, for your support of the Track Packers. So as you can see, the lineup is just myself on the pole and followed by Jessup because John's at bowling. He's taking place at Nationals in Baton Rouge, and so we wish him luck this week. And Becca is down for the count for tonight.
Yes, she is. Do you think John's yelling at the bowling pins like, "Who do you think you are? I am."
I don't think so. I think the pins are probably scared of their whatever outfit he decided to wear because his outfits kind of stand out just a little bit.
Yes, he's a glaring individual, and it's hard to miss him in more than one way.
Yeah. He he has a certain style. We'll just put it that way.
Yes, flashy, which is which is kind of like if you think of John Mason, do you really think John of like I think of John as someone who's well put together, very neutral, with the exception of some racing shirts. But everything else, I don't see him being wild and flashy. And then you get him in his bowling element, and it's like the mask. He's bright, flashy, a tad bit flamboyant.
I need to get him to send a picture of just one of, actually, I can find one of the pictures of his outfits just so you folks can understand what kind of outfits he has at these tournaments.
Some people already saw what John is wearing as he showed up to the test and tune at Dakota Speedway in his bowling outfit as he was bowling a tournament in Bismarck or Mandan that weekend. And yeah, that was his national outfit. He's very patriotic.
I think he should announce in those outfits.
I think he should too. That would be kind of funny.
No one would see him, but I feel like he'd be more chipper on the mic because we
It
need
would
less
be
miss
the
balls.
show within the show.
Yeah, now I have the responsibility to kind of hold down the fort while he's gone on Friday.
Yes, we don't need any controversy out of you.
Well, I got to do my research this week, but hopefully I'm well prepared for what's to come on Friday. But anyways, let's get the show started with the waving the green flag and get right into who or what are we repping. I guess I could go first or Jessup or
You go
who are
first,
you?
Mason. You never go first. You go first.
Alrighty, well, besides the hat that I wear for most shows, I do have a koozie. It's a new
Ooh.
koozie. This is from the Watson wedding. Kenny Watson just got married to Hayden Anderson a couple weeks ago. I did their video for their wedding, and so congratulations to Kenny, your his bride. So got that for the koozie. For the shirt, I forgot to look at the year of this, but this is a kind of a few years back
Oh,
Luke Croak shirt.
that's kind of
Kind of a
cool.
retro looking scheme.
Yeah, that's pretty neat, Mason. I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt. I want to say this is around 2018, 2019, but I would have to double check on that. But I had to dig through I was like, let's go through my older shirt piles and see what I can come up with. And thankfully, this one fit pretty well because the one I put on before it was a small, and boy, that got tight.
Well, you gotta get out of the weight room, Mason. You're getting too buff.
Yeah, I was like, dang, I actually have muscles now. So, yeah, some of those shirts are a
Opposed
little
to
bit
win.
tighter than.
Opposed to win, Mason.
Well, I have a strength trainer now because I'm training for the full marathon, so I have strength training to accompany it. And so we've been working on bench pressing, which, by the way, I finally benched over 100 pounds for the first time in my life.
Really?
Yes,
Boy.
yes,
Good job, Mason. You get muscles.
yes. So there, that is who or what I am repping for this episode. Who or what are you repping, Jessup?
Well, Mason, I just grabbed a shirt out of the bottom of my tote. I probably have worn it already. But I'm wearing the 50th anniversary Silver 1000 shirt. That's the one I think we all went to.
I
Was it
think
the
so,
one we
yep.
all? I think that was the big Trek Packer uh, voyage west or east. Well, we had to go west back home, so whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a great night. We had a lot of fun. I loved every moment of it as it's my favorite race. And I'm wearing a Derek Appert E85 hat as he will be a little more spoken upon later in our show. That's
Yes,
it.
he will be. Very cool. That is a cool hat. I think that hat fits your style too.
I like it. I think this is Becca's hat, but somehow it's found its way into my hat collection, which we like. So I struggle throwing away hats. I have like 9 from old hockey, like 1 weekend a year hockey team, and we would always get hats from the sponsor and shirts and stuff. And I have like 6 or 7 left now, and they fit really good. They wear really good, but they're just completely worn out. And I'm sitting there just tossing one away. I'm like, so it's good to add a new hat to the stable. While I had to let go of a very comfy hat, a new one makes its way in. So this I like it. It looks good.
It's gonna be a sad day when whenever I start getting rid of racing shirts, but right now they're taking up a whole side and corner of my closet.
So my advice for you, Mason, you're a racing person. I would say turn a bunch of them into just racing blankets.
I do. My sister can do that. I have requested to make one, so I need to figure out what shirts I can compile into that first one.
Yeah, I've got two. Actually, I've got 2 checkered flag fleece blankets, and then I've got 2 t-shirt quilts that my grandma made, and one's of my high school hockey
Hmm.
t-shirts, and then the other one is I think actually that this one's kind of cool. The other one is of all of my obstacle course and tough mudder like races that I competed in, and there's some cool ones in there. And that one is the very last quilt my grandma ever made, so that was pretty cool.
This actually, I just realized this quote behind me is NDSU shirts.
Hey, never hurts to have more quilts, Mason. If we go into an ice age like all the climatologists tells us we are going to have, we'll be ready.
Could have used some cooler temperatures because yeah, that 90-degree weather in April down in Florida was ridiculous.
It's going to be 80 this weekend. And you
I
know
saw
what,
that.
Mason? It's going to get hot because the racing action's going to heat up.
It certainly is. Well, at least out west, out east,
Are you guys going to race this weekend?
uh, I don't speak for the track, but that's my assessment currently right now, especially with driving out to West Fargo earlier tonight. Yikes.
Oh, I'm missing someone. Oh, that's interesting. I found an error on Dakota Dirt's website.
That is who or what we are repping for episode 7 of season 4, and we will move right into the hot sauce, hot memory rewind. Give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sondrol, driver of the 12S IMCA Modified. He did get his season started this weekend up at the Nordax Speedway. I don't think he had the best of luck. I think he did well on the first night of the doubleheader that they had up there, but not so much on the second night. But it's a long season, and I know he's still pretty excited. Actually, he didn't have a great night either night. He DNF'd both of them. So, hopefully we get the bad finishes out of the way for you, Isaac Sandro, and thank you for supporting the Track Packers. Be sure to go over to his Facebook page, 12S Racing, to find out all of his racing adventures and find out what exactly happened this weekend. So, thank you, Isaac, for your support. What do you got, Jessup?
So we're going to continue on with our theme from last week. So the people who are just listening, you're going to kind of be missing out on some really good stuff here. Um, so these are old Symes graphic and design uh, t-shirt designs and poster designs. And we got some names that are a little familiar for our western side of the state people. So the first one I'm going to show you.
Ooh, the Christiansens.
Yeah. Try to get the glare up. There we go. Maybe, oh, nope, nope. There we go. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
Didn't know they had
Randy and
shirts.
yeah, it's Randy and Drew Christensen. Drew's in what appears to be a stock car, could be potential hobby stock. I'm
It
not
was a
sure.
street stock at that time.
Well, is this back in Minnesota? When did
Yep, that would have
IMCA
been
take
the
care?
year would probably have been 1998.
That is correct. And then we have Randy and his modified. Oh, kind of a fun one to start us out with. Next couple ones, I just have them all in order just because I don't want to mess them up. That's non-compliant. This is a blank sheet. Sadly,
Oh,
that one was never
brilliant
put in.
design. Now,
Hey,
race fans, that blank sheet there, that would be a perfect Jessup approved paint scheme. Just so you know.
Mate. What about this guy, Mason? How about a little action?
Oh, Wayne Johnson. I don't. Well, it probably looks different just because it's on a shirt print, but that's an interesting looking car.
Yep, modified. Ford Racing.
Is
Don't
that
have a lot of Fords
97?
still racing. This would be 98. These are all going to be around 98, I think, Mason.
Okay. I might have a card of that year too.
Oh, this is Dakota flat track with no local,
Ooh,
nothing in it.
Dakota Flat Track. That's used to be what the flat track used to be called in Minot.
Oh, okay. Well, there's nothing with it. So, Dakota flat track, you do not exist in that. But we are going to talk a little bit Minot stuff. Motor Mania,
Yep.
the old drag race sprint car action. And then another Motor Mania motorcycle one. Not there.
Yeah,
Another motor.
ooh, kind of a Rugrats knockoff.
I think so. Let me see if I can get a better view. No. Hold on. Let's
So
try something
they
different here.
still do the classic car auction. They sell drags, and they have obviously the Nordic Speedway. They used to also have like a flying farmer. I think they had other motorcycle stuff and Supercross.
That would be the next one. And the last one. This actually feels pretty thick. Oh, only one.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Mason, this is 1998 Motor Mania. What weekend would this be?
Labor Day weekend.
That's correct. Too easy for you. Friday. I'm gonna ask you what is featured in a weekend of Motor Mania. Just
Okay.
naming off of
So you got Supercross,
yep,
drag strip,
yep,
car races at the big track, Nodak.
uh-huh. But what's the main draw for that?
Mm,
They're gonna be racing.
was the Harvest
Gonna be
100 going on that time?
don't know. But the answer is sprint cars. But go on.
Oh, I thought they were just there Saturday, Sunday.
Go on.
What else would there be? The classic car auction is always Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. You said the flying farmer, I'll give you that. What other motorsports was taking place?
I don't know, was there motorcycle driving lessons or something?
Well, here we go. I'll give you the rest. Tractor and semi truck pull,
Oh,
a demo
yep,
derby, music
yep.
by Night Ranger, Dog Star with Keanu Reeves.
Really?
That's what it says. Night Ranger and Keanu Reeves, 50s and 60s review. Plus, listen, there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Was there an
Sprint
enduro?
sprint carts, largest sandbox, monster
Oh
truck
man.
rides, state's largest swap meet, kids trout and walleye fishing,
Yep.
beer garden, gambling, skateboard park simulators, the number 40 Coors Light, and number 24 Jeff Gordon DuPont NASCARs, a burnout contest, and a stereo contest.
I feel like I have a picture of myself next to the 40 cars somewhere at my parents' place.
Okay. Now, we're gonna just because I find this stuff really interesting, and I think this really tells about how far were willing to push. I know this is probably during the boom for oil too, I guess, but
Kind of. Yeah,
it
it
would
was
it
a
be
little popular.
before?
Yeah, before the big boom, because the big boom was like in the late two O's, early
Yep.
2010s. But there was still
So
quite a bit of activity around the 90s.
I would say this is a great example of how promoters have changed over the years. I feel like the older days, they really put, I'm not going to be a to everybody, but I feel like they did put more effort into it. And I think we've become a bit too reliant on like social media.
Hmm.
And like, for example, Friday night, we'll just run through this. Friday as a whole, gates open at 8 a.m., not p.m., a.m. Drag racing starts at 10. Exhibits open at 2 p.m. $50,000 bingo at 4 p.m. I bet someone got into a fight over that.
Oh, that has Becca written all over it.
Oh, yeah. She would have like two daubers going every way. Nodak Speedway Racing, 6 p.m. Flying Farmer Jump, 7:30. And the night ends with Night Ranger, who was pretty big back then.
Hmm.
Saturday, gates open at 8 a.m. Exhibits open at 10 a.m. Drag racing at 10 a.m. Tires Plus Burnout Contest, 5:30 p.m. Supercross Motorcycle and NTPA Tractor and Semi Truck Pull at noon. Both of those are at noon. Nodak Speedway and Sprints, 6 p.m. Dog Star with Keanu Reeves, 10 p.m. That one just blows my mind.
Yeah.
We had John Wick. Anyways, going on to Sunday. Gates open at 8. Exhibits open at 10. Tire Plus Burnout Contest, 5:30. Supercross Motorcycles and Drag Racing at noon. The MWDDA Midwest Demolition Derby Association Demo Derby at noon as well. Classic Car Auction at noon. Loud and Proud Stereo Contest, 4 p.m. Nodak Speedway and Sprints at 6. 50s and 60s Review, 10 p.m.
There
Kind
was
of makes you
stuff to do.
kind of makes you miss the old days.
Hmm. That was a fun weekend. I remember that
Yeah,
weekend.
I think I would have a fun time with that as well.
Yeah, there was always something to do.
But Mason, we're not going to worry about the old days. We're not going to be mad. We're just going to enjoy what we once had and enjoy what we have now because it can all get taken away real quick.
That is true. That's very
So
true.
that's my contribution for this week's Hot Sauce Rewind.
So I have one photo, which fittingly enough, it's from Nodak Speedway. And so there's three drivers in this photo.
Joran Boys.
Well, wait. I
Joran
will
Boys.
you win this segment or whatever if you can get two out of the three, okay?
Joran Boys.
All right, here it comes.
That's not Joran Boys.
You-
Oh, 47. Why does that number stick out to me?
It should stick out to you. Now these are IMCA hobby stocks. That's your first hint.
Uh-huh. That Nate Joran.
Is it?
Give me a second. I'm going to pull a John.
Yeah.
So,
I'll give that to you. It is Nate Jern.
yeah, I got one.
You got one.
Well, the 47, is that a beater?
Well, there's multiple beaters, so you got to figure out which one it is.
Brandon?
Is that your final answer?
Well, it's a B beater.
The B beater. Well, so there's three B beaters technically nowadays.
Well, then, am I right or wrong?
Well, it is a beater, but you have to say which one it is.
I want to say Brandon.
It is Brandon Beater.
Oh, all right. Then now the 12.
Yep. This one might be a little tricky
Do,
for you.
do they still race?
No, they don't.
Uh,
He
have I
has
seen them race?
maybe he has two sons that currently race
Oh, crud.
in sport mods up in Minot. One of them just got their first win in Minot
Oh, that
on
doesn't
Sunday.
help me because I did not look at the results this week.
Ooh.
I'm in trouble.
Are
This
you
is what
familiar
happens when you get.
are you familiar with Dakota Trackside and who took it over?
Yes, I I should know who took it over because I remember having this conversation, but I'm struggling with names. Dang it! I know it's at the end of my. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull John here.
Yeah, okay. See if I can zoom in. No, you can't. It gets too blurry to see the name.
Nodak Speedway
Yeah, look at the results
Central.
on Sunday and same last name in the sport mods.
Oops, results. I did not pick well in sport modes.
I did not either.
Oh, okay. So there's a Stenvold.
It
I'm not
is.
going to get the first name.
It's Rob Stenvold.
Ah, dang it! I knew we just talked about this too. Crud.
Yep. We got Brandon Beater, Rob Stenvold, and Nate Jern. And I believe this
Look at
was,
me.
I can't remember the year. I think it was 2007.
Now the real question is, if we start getting John and here, which whose toter is whose? I'm gonna say the third one, the one on the right, is probably gonna be Wayne Johnson.
Um, I don't know if you can see my cursor. I feel like this one's more likely to be Wayne Johnson's.
Or
One of
is
these is Spencer Wilson's, and the other, I maybe Marlon Seiler. I can't remember. So this was a goofy setup they had this year, and I think the next year, because everyone pitted in the infield, and they used to have like the toters kind of parked in the middle of the infield, but then they had parked all the toters towards the inside wall, so it was really goofy.
hmm, I don't mind it. It's kind of cool.
It it was different. I will say that it was definitely different.
Having seen enough races at Dakota Speedway and Iowa where they dump a boatload of toters in the middle.
Yeah. But now they pit on out in the boondocks, which is
Boom.
which is a way further walk than it used to be. So not as many people probably go to the pits as they used to. Although they do run the show pretty quick, so maybe that helps with that too. But
They did run a. I must say they for what I did see on Saturday, they ran
especially
an
Saturday,
incredibly efficient show.
that
So
was like because it was like 10 something in
tip of
Florida,
the
and I'm like,
cap.
holy crap, they're done already?
Yep, they ran a heck of a show.
Yeah,
So
I'm like, yeah, kudos to them for running a quick show. Especially, I guess, apparently it was cold too, so that probably played a factor in it as well. But anyways, that is the hot sauce, hot memory rewind. Some fun stuff that we went over. And so
a lot
we
of
move on.
Nodak stuff.
A lot of Nodak stuff.
Well, that's good.
You're brushing
Hey,
up on your Nodak
remember,
history.
hey, remember, folks, if you have any stuff you'd want submitted, we would be more than happy to take it in. Mason and I and John are all kind of connoisseurs of the history of dirt track racing, and yeah, we'd love to add to the collection of hot sauce memory rewind material.
Definitely. It's
Hmm.
fun to go over some historical stuff, especially because, I mean, John's an expert like in Mandan and Jamestown. Jessup's versed in late model racing and out in this Iron Range. I'm kind of Minot and Williston-ish area, I guess. So
Yep,
maybe each have our own little areas that we're kind of experts in. So we actually have some racing to go over, the track pack report. I went to a race last week, but since it's fresh on our mind, season opener Mandan, I watched from the broadcast, but I'd be just a couch racer at that point. How was it at the track?
You'd be a couch viewer.
Well, this is true too.
And racing was great. The whole day as a whole for an opening day in April, you really can't ask for anything better, I think. Um, yeah, we had a really good weather. Could be a little warmer, personal, a little less windy at the top of the grandstand, which is a every week occurrence. But
Yeah.
um, no, you know what? It was a great day. Great car counts, great fields for just about everybody. And yeah, racing was really good. No major wrecks, which is really weird. On the opening nights, you usually see like one bad wreck, and then you see about two or three people pop a motor. And we didn't really, I didn't, as far as I was aware, there wasn't too much of that. And yeah, everything was pretty awesome. Decent fan count. Always wish there was more, but food was good. New concessions
Yep. New
were
concessions
well
there.
received, and I think they learned a little bit about what to expect. But everything on the whole is a good start to the season for Dakota Speedway. So to break it down a bit, well, I'm not John or Becca who will give you step by step, play by play, pass by pass reports, but we'll do it kind of Western Roundup style. Um, on the night, there was 127 cars, 25 IMCA mods, 26 IMCA stock cars, 48 NX Legends,
Just
17
48.
just just
Good grief.
I really wish we ran like a C main and then made them run a B main. I think that'd be pretty entertaining because there's not
I
too many places that run C mains.
was say that's what they do for sprint car races when they have like what 45 plus or something.
Yeah. The bigger races usually have that. Anyways, 17 hobby stocks and 11 slingshots, which that was their inaugural opening night to be a full-time racing class with Dakota Speedway. So uh, let's start with the slingshots. Only hiccup that I saw was the first slingshot heat race where they struggled to get the concept of going side by side to start the race. Outside of that, you know what? They did a pretty good job all throughout the night. Um, we had some real strong competitors, and then we had some that are just getting their feet wet. And happened to be their first race ever. And you know what? I can only imagine the size of those butterflies in their stomachs. Probably like dive bombers going after um, targets of some sort.
Hmm.
Uh, but the kids did good. They seemed to do really well. I don't think they overstepped their abilities, and they're going to grow and get better as the season goes on. Landon Hallgren and Caden Davenport had a really good battle in both their heat and their feature. Landon would get first, Caden would get second, Easton Olson would pick up third, and Easton and Landon picked up the heat wins. and the and the what a what's the technical term for these hobby stocks?
I think they're just Dakota Speedway hobby stocks.
Yeah, but there's something in between. I can't remember. There's Central Dakota hobby stocks.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the
Technical term.
yeah.
Anyways, hobbies had 17 in attendance. Heat winners would be Jeremy Englehart and Mitch Gordon. Derek Appert would pick up the feature win. That was a good race there. Uh, Joseph Weiss didn't make any friends from what I was hearing after the races and in the bleachers. But he got second. Jeremy Englehart would get third. Hard Charger would go to Barrett Hergenhoon +6. In the NX Legends, only 48 showed up, Mason. And there's actually, we were kind of counting some of the names that weren't there. or
Hmm.
weren't out there quite yet for one reason or the other. And had they shown up, it would be well past the 50s, and closer to the 60 mark, which
I'm
is
just
all right.
disappointed. It wasn't 50.
Well, we're sorry, Mason. We can't please everybody. Um, let's break this down. I gotta look hard into this. Heat winners would be Preston Martin, Casey Martin, Bryce Barnhart, and Noah Madler. The B mains, we had multiple, not just one, multiple B mains. Cody Macart and Ty Wilkie would pick up the B mains, and neither of those guys are slouches. One's a former national champion, and Cody's no slouch himself. He's been really fast last year and this year so far. And in the feature, the hard charger would be going plus 10 to pick up the win, and that was Preston Martin, who would just wrangle away the lead at the last lap and a half lap
Hmm.
area. I think it was the last two laps from Ty Olson, who had a great race, and then Donovan Weist would also go plus 9 to finish third. So great field of cars. Uh, Brandon Anderson led a good chunk of that feature. Um, kind of felt bad for him. I was hoping he would steal a win there, and it would have been a really great win for him. But
Yeah, he looked really
top,
good.
he looked good. Um, IMCA stock cars, great field of cars. 26 IMCA stock cars would make the call for the night. Marlon Seidler, Matt Dosh, and Andrew Jokum slash Yokum. Announcer was getting scolded, apparently. Uh, we're gonna have to reach out to Andrew and get that controversy settled away because I remember we when I first moved here, I think John said Yokum and he got scolded for saying Yokum, and he was informed it was Jokum, and now another person's scolding John or is upset that John says Jokum after uh, he believes that John should say Yokum, and I've heard both names in North Dakota, so I really don't
Yeah.
have a clue anymore.
It just
But
goes to show that announcers are the last to know on these things.
pretty much, John needs to do more research.
You
The
know
Rain
what?
Man.
That is a great point. I do agree with that. John, do more research.
Well, anyways, it was interesting, Mason, because in all three heats, the leader just spanked the field. And in the feature, Andrew had a good win, solid win, but he had to wrangle it away from Sean Volk, who would finish second, and Brock Beater would get third. Brock looked really good, in my opinion. I thought he raced really hard.
Yeah, he had a good
Seidler
weekend.
made Seidler made a pretty stout run as well. The other person who really had a good feature race after cutting a right rear in the heat was Jeff Hellman. He went plus 18. So that's a lot of passing.
And
So
that's one of his first races in a stock car, I believe.
yeah, I don't know if he's raced one before. I thought he did
I,
last year.
I feel like knowing him, he probably has, but that plus 18 in the first night out, that's pretty dang good.
Yep. And then to cap the night off, it was the IMCA modifieds. 25 guys in attendance and a lot of the premier talent in North Dakota, a lot of Western North Dakota premier talent, I would say.
Hmm.
Um, feature win or heat wins would go to Jeremy Keller, Travis Hagan, and Quentin Kinsley. As the feature, it would be the Big Show, Jason Walla picking up the win. He looked really good. He was really dominant in that.
Yeah.
And Quentin Kinsley would get second, and Travis Hagan would pick up the hard charger going plus 7 to finish third. And Travis raced a heck of a race to get third, I thought. Um, those guys were going through lap traffic, and it was like he played the patience game where a lot of people try to make their moves right away early in the feature, and he just slowly waited everybody out and picked them off
Hmm.
one at a time. And yeah, it was a great race.
That's kind of Travis's style that he kind of is patient and kind of bides his time. Now, if it like so I was watching, if it wasn't for Wallace stinking up the show, that was a freaking good race for second on back.
Yeah, that there was multiple points where it was a 3 car and a 4 car battle for second, and they
Hmm.
were slicing and dicing through the field. And I believe it was Strand, Keller, Kinsley, and Hagan all were putting on a heck of a show. And you definitely got your money's worth. While the big show was, he was walking away from everybody, and he had himself a heck of a night.
Yeah, and that's a good win for Jason because he's like he hasn't raced a ton over the last couple of years, and when he has, it's kind of been kind of up and down. And so start off the season with a good win like that with that stiff of competition, it's got to feel really good.
Yeah, you can't be upset about taking home a win at Dakota Speedway. I mean, it's definitely a driver's track, and it brings in the who's who and it sorts it out real quick.
That it does. Yeah, I enjoyed watching those features on the broadcast. The stock cars were fun to watch. Watch Andrew kind of pull a slide job on Sean Volk. Sean looked really good too. I mean, that's
Sean
probably the
looked
best.
great. I,
That's the best I've
I,
seen him look in quite some time.
yeah, the stock cars are going to be interesting this year as Hunter Damagala is taking the season off as he's got family commitments he wants to be around for, and AKA kids. But we're going to have a new champion in that division this year. Unless
Yeah.
something like wild happens and Hunter gets a car ready for this week and wins everything here on out, it's going to be tough to make up those points. So we're
Yeah.
probably going to get a new champion. And, Sean Strand didn't have his stock car out. He's only going to be racing it on a part time basis. And so that kind of takes away the runner up from last year.
Mm.
And, it's you got some wily veterans. You got some new faces in the division. The Davenports have moved up from the legends, and uh, they're going to be a nice, interesting mix to the field. And you got Marlon Seidler still in a stock car out there, so you got some mod guys running around with them, and it's it's definitely going to be interesting. And then you got, I think Engelhard and Apperts and I think Hare has one.
I think so.
So
I
you
don't know.
got some hobby stock guys in there as well. So it's it's kind of the melting pot in the racing divisions right now. So
That's going to
it's going to
be
be a fun season.
yeah, the stock cars. There's going to be. I feel like there's going to be a lot of different winners this year in that class, especially in Mandan, because that's going to be like one week someone's going to nail the setup, and then the next week they're going to be like struggling to get to like eighth. That's just
I
how that
think
class works.
I think we're going to have to wait till about the fourth race to start really getting a good, clear picture view of who's going to be your comers and goers in the division. But I
Hmm.
think there's going to be a lot of good battles within that division this year.
I agree with that. Yeah, so that's a solid start for Dakota Speedway to kick off 2025. And they
Yeah.
got some more racing coming up this weekend, which we'll touch on in just a little bit. I will briefly go over the one race I got to take in so far this year, outside of my trip to Florida, which was the Ogilvie Raceway season opener, which they had a good turnout of cars there, 118 cars there, and in their 6 divisions, and track was pretty good to start, and then they watered at intermission, and I mean because it was cool temperatures. Moisture came right up and it made the track just a little choppy for the features. So it made things really entertaining to watch as the night went on because it was pretty slick for the heats.
Well, that's kind of a weird thing too. Ogilvie's not really known for choppy tracks. They're kind of like Dakota Speedway of Minnesota with a wall around the outside. It's a
Yeah.
very fast, dry, slick track that provides a couple good grooves to race in. And so for it to get choppy, they must have had some serious moisture in the ground.
Yeah, because it came right up and like the first feature, it was like, well, the street stocks were the first out and they were, you could see they were kind of bouncing a little bit. It's like, oh, Wow. But watched a little bit this last week, and they seem to have got that fixed out. So I think they just probably needed a week to get some of the frost out. And so going over the results, starting in the street stocks, Levi Rant was your winner. He started fifth on the field, getting that first win of the year in the street stocks. In your super stocks, it was Dennis Zeck with a big win off the front row, holding off Shane Sabraski and Joey Jensen. Midwest Modifieds had the finish of the night between Joey Jensen and Jason Vandekamp. Photo finish, I believe, was 17 or 14 thousandths of a second. They were swapping lead on a last 2 or 3 laps, and Joey Jensen edged out Vandekamp for the win there. In your Minnesota Modifieds, Jody Belfi had to hold off a hungry field of drivers, including Landon Atkinson, Tyler Peterson, Joseph Thomas, and Travis Schulke. So the North Shore Nightmare, Jody was your winner there, which I will say, I actually made a reel on 410 day with the sprint cars and it included Bill Baylog. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I screwed up the nickname
Called them
because
the North Shore Nightmare, didn't you?
I think I did. I'm like, oh shoot, I think I screwed that up because
He
Bill
is the
Bellog's the
North
North
Pole.
Pole nightmare. Oops.
Wisconsin way of Alaska.
Yeah. So that might have been a big oops on my part, but hey, no one called me out on that, so it never happened. Late models went to one TPO Tyler Peterson. That was a fun battle between him, I believe it was Josh Zimple and Jack Randa. They were 3 wide for the first 5 or 6 laps. Jack Randa, who's a rookie in the late models, looks really good. Like he's going to win some races this year. He's looked really solid in his late model. And then Hornets went to Anthony Jensen in the 23T over Dakota Larson and Bobby Arnis. And that was the opening night at Ogilvie Raceway. Pretty good. Pretty good turnout of fans as well, even though it was pretty chilly. But what can you expect with mid-April racing? It's not going to be ideal conditions. So good start for them down in Ogilvie. They had their second race of the season this last week. And so that is this week's track pack report, or for over the last couple weeks of the racing we saw. So that leads us into what's upcoming next with Dakota Dirt. What's upcoming next in the state of North Dakota?
Probably racing, Mason.
That's a very fair assumption.
Well, before I had made a slight error in the schedule. This upcoming weekend, May 2nd, will be night one of the Mandan Meltdown at the Dakota Speedway. They'll be racing Friday and Saturday, 2 complete shows. And I think it's just going to be basically normal pay. I haven't heard anything to increase pay, but I know there's going to be a couple different guys coming over, and Virgil Randall is one person who made a post that he just got a modified recently, and he's looking forward to coming up to Mandan this weekend for both nights. So that'll be a fun addition to the lineups. And uh, Virgil kind of has a connection to our group because he was part
Yes.
of the Stampede Shakedown, and so that's kind of cool to see him come back up our direction. And yeah, that's pretty neat. Also on May 2nd, it should be the opener for the Red River Valley Speedway. Mason is questioning that as weather and just it's not looking ideal, they say. Anyways,
I'm looking up
on
at the rain total for the last 24 hours just to clarify this.
4 inches.
I don't think it's that much, but we're out well over an inch now.
Well, with all that wind, you might have it puddle.
There's puddles, all right.
Anyways, May 3rd, Saturday is going to be Devil's Lake Speedway. Now, I'm probably thinking of last weekend that I think it was last weekend that they canceled. For some reason, I thought I saw them aiming to cancel this upcoming weekend, but I think it was
Nope.
last weekend because they had back-to-back weekends.
Yep.
They're looking to get back into the groove of things. Let's see if we can't pull up what they got going on. Oh, Devil's Lake. What do you guys got? It looks like
They
Midwest Mods, Streets, Pure Stocks, Western Renegade, Wingless Sprints, So that'll be their first show of the year for those guys. And then Estevan Motor Speedway's kicking their season off. We're going to be doing it in style with all their classes: IMCA mods, IMCA stock cars, IMCA sport mods, IMCA hobby stocks, and slingshots as well. So those guys are looking for a good opening night for them. And then on the 4th, it will be Nodak Speedway going right back at it after a good opening weekend. And this one's going to be a fun one. Maybe we should sneak over to it, Mason. NOSA 410 Sprints will be kicking their season off at the Playground of Power. And you got all that power, you might as well let the horses breathe a little and let them run. And they're going to have plenty of room. And the track's been really good the past, I'd say, year. It's been really consistent, and it'll be a good night of racing out there for any sprint car fans, which Minot used to be a major sprint car town. And they're going to be having IMCA mods, IMCA stock cars, IMCA sport mods, IMCA hobbies, and I have some IMCA, but I don't think they're racing anything else.
I don't think the combats are racing.
Nope. So that's what this upcoming week is looking like, Mason. Definitely a fun group of events to go see. And Test and Tune will be going on at Williston Basin Speedway on the 3rd as well. So that will be that.
Yep. There's also a Test and Tune scheduled for Wednesday in West Fargo. We'll see.
Allegedly.
Again, this may change within 24 hours, but yeah, I just don't see that happening necessarily with how wet it is right now.
You're our eyes and ears on the ground out there. So if you say it's not happening, I'm going to believe you.
The eyes and ears on the ground are very wet out here. I'll just put it that way.
Hashtag moist.
It is moist. So outside the state of North Dakota, I'll go day by day. It actually kicks off Thursday, the 1st of May, with Princeton running on a Thursday. A little bit different than normal. Not sure exactly why, but they're racing. Friday the 2nd, we have Brown County Speedway's opener, Fiesta City Speedway opening up, I-94 back at it, and Red Cedar Speedway looking to open up their season. They've had to push their opener back. Saturday the 3rd, Cedar Lake continues. Miller Central Speedway opening up, followed by North Central Speedway for their second night, Ogilvie Raceway with their third, and Rice Lake Speedway with their second. And on the 4th, may the 4th be with you, Buffalo River Race Park looking to open, Granite City for their second race, and Redwood Speedway for their season opener. So, a lot of tracks trying to start their season up this weekend for the first weekend of May, and then it really gets busy the following weekend. So, things are starting to ramp up. So, drivers, if you haven't gotten your cars finished, still show up to the track. You just may get a little bit ridiculed by us because we think your paint schemes
What do you mean? I still.
Well, Jessup likes those. Jessup likes those half-finished car schemes.
In my top 5, I still have the DeHero Nelson modified. That one still has the best look.
Is it? Well, Proctor, I know, has a test and tune this upcoming Sunday. Do they start racing at all over in the Iron Range yet? Because he probably has a little more time to get that car wrapped up.
I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of their schedules. I think I glanced at Hibbings, and I've glanced a little at Proctor, and outside of that, I don't think I've looked at Superior.
Yeah. Let's say none of them open on Friday. Saturday.
They're going to be closer towards the end of May.
Yeah, Hibbing, I think, on Saturday with the Northern Renegades, and Proctor has a test tune on Sunday. So he's got a little more time to get that car wrapped.
He does. Or he can leave it like that.
You would like that.
He has gorgeous looking cars. So
he does. Even if they have just duct tape for the numbers.
I thought that was hilarious. We're kicking it old school. It's a throwback.
It's a throwback. We'll display the white flag and give a shout out to our good friend Brody Carlsrud in the B1 IMCA stock car, who did get a season started at the North Central Speedway. Had a pretty solid run there, and I believe he was using his old car. I don't think he had his new car out yet, so I'm curious to see what the new car looks like. Might have to head over to shop this week. But you can keep track of Brody's racing at B1 Brody Carlsrud Racing on Facebook, and also his podcast, The Real Deal with B1, to find the ins and outs of getting to the racetrack, what goes on in the shop, and more. And so thank you, Brody, for supporting us on the podcast as well. Do you have any winners of the week, Jessup, that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes. Let's go with the slingshot division at Dakota Speedway. A lot of young drivers, a lot of, like I said before, a lot of butterflies in the pits, as the nerves were certainly high, but they all conducted themselves pretty well, very well, I should say. And once they got going, they did a great job. And some of those kids were really cruising around the track, and they were putting down some pretty fast lap times. So hopefully they can keep that up all year. And yeah, that'll be great. Let's see. Next one. Gotta give it to Big Show.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was a good one for him. I mean, he said he was cheating because he won from the front pole or the front row, and a win's a win. And the
What do you
amount
win
of
by over
talent,
3 seconds, too?
yeah, if you're running through traffic and slicing and dicing like he did and still beating everybody by over 3 seconds, and there were some really big names from IMC modified racing in our state there. Um, that's a well-deserved win for him. Then, yeah, I guess I can say Preston Martin. I mean, picking up another strong performance out of him. 48 cars is definitely as Becca would say, it's a large, inside joke, large field of cars, and there was no slouches in the feature either. There, I mean, previous national champions, so you had quite a few of those, and some really good young quality racers. And all in all, um, there was some good racing that he had to get through, and he deserved that win. So good on him.
Yep, hard-earned win for the Minion Man, as we like to call him.
Yep.
I'll add in 3 more wins, and they're kind of from all around the area. I'm going to give a shout out. How do I want to word this? It would have been a clean sweep of the podium in the Midwest Modifieds over at I-94 for North Dakota drivers, but Haley Dykoff edged Jaron Wibstead at the line for third by like thousandths of a second. But Nate Ranke and Lucas Rodin put on an awesome show. Nate edged out Lucas Rodin for the win there on the season opening night. So that was a fun race to watch in the Midwest Modifieds. My second win of the week, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Taylor Stenvold getting his first Sport Mod win up at Nodak Speedway. That's a very, very tough field of cars to win against, especially when you got guys like Robbie Roselli, Gabe Deshawn, Chad Stretch, and several others. And he's been knocking on the door of that first win and was running consistent last year. And so good to see him get that first win out of the way. And then my third one, I got to check the stat on this, but Jason Hobbs, he's a super stock driver out of the Princeton area, won there on Friday night. His first feature win since the year 2000. So that deserves a win of the week in my book.
It does.
And
It
to
does.
beat someone like Dexton Cook, national champion from last year, no easy feat. So congrats, Jason Hobbs. Those are my 3 wins of the week. And even though the others aren't here, do you have any paint schemes over the last week that have stood out to you? I have several, but I'll probably just pick out a couple.
I'll let you say your several.
I'm not going to say several. I'll just save them for next week when all of us are here. Which ones should I pick out for this week?
Mike Stearns modified, which matches perfectly with his late model, and that's how cars should look. if you have multiple cars, in my
That,
opinion. They should
that is
look
a great
somewhat
point.
close to each other. I like how they are matching. I think it looks cool. Um, yeah, I think it looks cool.
Okay, so you probably haven't seen a lot of these schemes, so I'll share my screen as I talk about these. Actually, it's the same number, but just two different classes. So Eric Riley Street Stock, I really like.
And it's all gray.
It is not all gray. There's purple in it.
That's purple. It looks blue.
Well, for me, it's purple. Believe me, it's
Okay.
purple.
Okay.
And he's got purple wheel covers too. I think that's a
Okay.
sharp looking car.
It is.
He didn't have the best luck in Fergus. I think he DNF'd, but
Trust me, I know I picked him.
I'm pretty sure I picked him too. And actually, the other 51 that I really like is Avery Anderson's was sort of modified from Alexandria area.
Oh.
It's a weird teal with fluorescent red.
Oh, that's kind of like a Hunter Marriott.
Kind of. For
Hunter
those
did
of
it first.
yeah,
Just
it looks good, Avery.
kidding. I'm
It looks
kidding.
good. Those are my two for
Does
this
look.
week. So,
Oh, those are good ones.
what's your schedule like this weekend, Jessup? What are you going to be doing racing wise?
I'll be at the track Friday and Saturday for the Man-Down Meltdown. Just turning the camera, put in enough fires for if need be, or starting fires if need be.
Sure.
And then maybe Nodak. I would like to get to Nodak, but we'll see what happens.
Well, that's part of my plans. Actually, pretty similar plans to you. So I'll be over in Mandan for sure on Friday as Senor John Breck will be flying back in that night, and so they are
Oh,
announcerless. So I have come to fill the void for Friday night.
yep. Yes, you
So
have.
be prepared for some wackiness.
Who's announcing with you?
I don't think anyone.
Hmm.
That's why I said be prepared for some wackiness.
Well, if there's no racing, you should bring Corey with you.
That would be fun to bring Corey, although, well, he'd have to
Someone's
figure
got
out
to
a
bring
place
him
to.
back.
Yeah, but then I can't stay at the Pelkey Palace then.
Well, yeah, that's true. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So I might be by myself. Maybe Becca will come over. Well, she's probably been busy doing other stuff, but we'll see.
You'll be on my laps.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
She's
what.
on the not as fun side of the tower.
Oh, we need to get her back over on the fun side. So yeah, I'll be in Mandan Friday, planning to go to Estevan on Saturday, and then Minot on Sunday. So
Neat.
spending time out west, back in the homeland,
Motherland.
the motherland. That's going to be
Hey,
my official kickoff for the season.
you know what, Mason? I'm excited about this. This all feels right. You know why it feels right?
Because you're on the front row.
We're back. We're back, baby. We're back in the front row where we belong.
Oh boy. Well, that'll do it for episode 7 of season 4 for the Track Packers. As always, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook. And if you're a listener, Spotify and Apple Podcasts is where you can find us. Thank you to our
Leave us
sponsors, Hitch
comments.
Harness, The Real Deal with B1 Brody Carlsrud, and Isaac Hot Sauce Sondrol. For a lot of us, the racing season is kicked off. If it hasn't, we hope that you go out to a racetrack this weekend so we can all pack the track.